fascinating and insightful presentation. Well, it is a rare opportunity for us to have Mr. Scalise with us this morning. So I suppose many of you, particularly from IT industry, as they have the questions and maybe some comments on the Mr. Scalise presentation. So please, yes, Dr. Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Scalise, for your fantastically stimulating talk. I can think of many interesting questions, but not as interesting as the question you posed for ourselves. So I reverse my process. Instead of asking you questions, I would like to think out loud. I understand I'm not smart enough to answer the question you posed, but I would like to think along the line you pose the question to see how great it is. Throughout the process of this device, technological breakthrough, you saw the 1K becoming 4K, 16K, etc. motor operating process, which was interesting at the time, but increasingly became capital intensive, and many companies couldn't keep it up on their own, and I guess advanced micro devices got those results. The companies had to get together. During the process, two factors were in play. That is innovative power of the smaller companies versus the resource and the power of the larger companies. And during the process, Samsung, I guess, benefited in the sense that it had both the resource of the large companies and combined with somewhat innovative or daring kind of management style, unlike the Germans conglomerates. But we have now seemed to have reached at the stage where it's no longer a question of you're going to have one or the other, but you require both, because the size has gotten to the point where it's enormous capital requirements that you have to move on to the next stage. Ergo, your question, can the companies can hold this, or do you need the industrial policies and backup from the government? So I think the question there has to be answered in various ways. First of all, as the scale of the next stage development, or the capital requirement becomes huge, can the economy adjust itself to a more clever way of getting organized, that is specializing into various sectors, and in a sense, stage by stage or factor by factor, you organize in an effective way so that the requirements of the size and the risk can be managed. If the free enterprise can do this very effectively, then perhaps the market can triumph. But if the society cannot do that, then perhaps the only way you can do that is back to the centralized system of government-sponsored kind of device. I would hope, as a student of free economy, that the former model would prevail. And I'd like to ask how you feel about the development.
Well, I hope you all understood, and I think basically the end of that is, will the cost, the investment necessary to establish a manufacturing capability in the industry, which is now at $3 billion and will go higher as we go forward. I don't think it'll get much above $5 billion because we'll run out of time. That if we get to a 18-inch wafer, 20-inch wafer, whatever it turns out to be, that's going to be the last step, just because by that time we'll be down to roughly 10 nanometers and there's no further to go. So let's say $5 billion. Is it going to be possible for the industries to fund this investment, or will it take government funding for that to happen? We don't need lights, we can just talk. I think first of all I would say this, and I agree. Well, I hope you all understood, and I think basically the end of that is, will the cost, the investment necessary to establish a manufacturing capability in the industry, which is now at $3 billion, and will go higher as we go forward. I don't think it'll get much above $5 billion because we'll run out of time. That if we get to a 18-inch wafer, 20-inch wafer, whatever it turns out to be, that's going to be the last step, just because by that time we'll be down to roughly 10 nanometers and there's no further to go. So let's say $5 billion. Is it going to be possible for the industries to fund this investment, or will it take government funding for that to happen? We don't need lights, we can just talk. I think first of all I would say this, and I agree.
Private entrepreneurs and different.
Yeah.